Welcome to Auction version 4, the event management software tool from Auction Systems. This video is part 1 of the Financial Name Document series in the playlist for documents. In this video, I will give you an introduction to financial name documents and go into details of the navigation ribbon for these types of documents. The financial documents are associated with households and companies. What is a household? A household, as far as auction is concerned, is the name or names associated with a single name entry form. When a name record is created, if there is only one name entered, which would be in the primary name fields, even though there is only one name in the record, that one name is a household. In the name record, if it's for a couple, with one person's name information entered in the primary name fields and that person's spouse entered in the secondary name fields, this is also a household. Donations, purchases, and payments are associated with the entire household. Even if a spouse has a separate bid number in the same name entry form, their invoice and statements will be combined for the entire household. To get to financial documents for name records, on the main home task ribbon, click Documents and then click Names. These last three buttons on the Name Documents ribbon are the financial documents. Invoices include all cash donations, item and ticket purchases, payments, and the net balance due associated with a household or company record. This is the critical financial document you will need to print at your event so your guests can pay for their purchases at checkout. Donor receipts are an itemized list of donations and can include any or all of the following types of donations: item donations, cash donations, and in-kind donations. This financial document is ideal to send to companies that donated an item or items or even cash to your auction, but did not purchase any tickets. Statements are a combination of donor receipts and invoices and can also list reimbursable expenses and any payments your organization paid out for those reimbursable expenses. Statements are often sent out as part of a thank you after the event is over, when most, if not all, of your bidders have paid for their items. Statements are a great resource for your bidders and donors so they have a complete financial document detailing all their participation in your event. To create any one of these documents, click on the appropriate button. I chose Invoices because invoices are so critical for your guests to check out. Statements are not ideal for checkout because they have too much information. Invoices cut right to the chase. This is what you purchased, this is what you've paid for so far, and this is how much you still owe. But no matter what financial document you choose, you will see a screen similar to this. On the left side of the screen, you will see a panel that has three sections. The top section relates to the bottom, so let's start at the bottom. If there are any custom documents of this specific type currently saved in your project, you will see them at the bottom. If a document of this type has been printed from this project, even if the format was not saved as a custom format, Auction will remember what the last document looked like and it will be here in Last Printed. When a document of this type was saved or last printed, it not only saved the format or look of the document, it also saved or remembered the name selection criteria picked for that document, which brings us to the top. The default choice when picking a custom document or last printed below will be to load the format and the name selection criteria, but you have a choice to load only the format. When you do this, in the next screen you will need to start from scratch to set the name selection criteria. In the center is some choices for creating a document of this type from scratch. These are the invoice choices. There will be different choices for donor receipts and for statements. A helpful tip is to hover over any of these choices and a tooltip will appear telling you the name selection criteria and content choices that are associated with that format. Needs printing is a basic invoice to start with when preparing a custom invoice, so let's start here. Any of the selections on the previous screen will take you to the formatting screen. On the top of the screen we have the ribbon. On the left side we have the name selection criteria, which is open, and then beneath that we have some content panels which likely will be closed. We can open them one at a time by clicking on the closed panel. In the middle is the current list of name records that fit the criteria in the name selection panel, and on the right we have a preview of what one document would look like for one name record. Let's look at each one of these parts on the screen in detail. Starting with the ribbon, the first 4 buttons in the ribbon tell us how we got to this screen. From Home, we click Documents, Name Documents, and then Invoices. The next button, Select Format, is the same as the vertical Select Format button on the left. Clicking either one of these buttons will cause the Format panel we saw in the previous screen to fly out from the left. If we pick the wrong Save Format or want to start over with a different starting criteria, click either of these buttons to pick a different starting place. The Page Setup button or the Customize Setup vertical button will cause a page size and margins panel to fly out from the left. In this panel, you can change the page orientation from portrait to landscape, you can change the size and margins of the page, and you set the quality of any image you want to include on the document. Good quality is usually sufficient for images on financial documents and will not take up too much memory. Fonts is the same as the vertical fonts button on the left. Clicking either fonts button will cause a fonts menu to fly out from the left where you can pick the font and the font size for different sections of the document. The next button on the ribbon is specific to invoices only and will not appear on the Statement or Donor Receipt ribbon. This button has a menu choice that is only relevant if you choose to give spouses listed in the same name record different bid numbers. If you do have a case where the secondary name in the record has been assigned a different bid number from the primary name, you can either set up this invoice to print 1 invoice per bid number or 1 invoice per household. 1 invoice for bid number means that the invoice for the household will actually be 3 sheets of paper. The first page of the invoice in the purchase section will list any tickets purchased and then have a line item for the first bidder's bid number with a total amount due for that bidder's item purchases, and then a line item for the total amount due from the second bidder's purchases. It will have no details of what either bidder purchased. Those will come on the next 2 pages. The second page of this household invoice will have the details such as the item number, short description, and purchase price of each item purchased using the primary bid number. And the third sheet will have the details of the items purchased using the second bid number. Either one of the bidders can pay for the total due from the household on the first sheet, or they can split the payment. But if they don't want to share what exactly each other purchased, when you print these 3-part invoices, you may want to put the second and third pages in separate envelopes with the bid number on the outside and then staple them both to the first page. The other choice is 1 invoice per household, which instead of a 3-part invoice for any household that has 2 bid numbers, everything will be included, including all the details of their purchases, on the same invoice. The next section of the ribbon has buttons for printing. In this first field, you can set how many copies of each invoice you want to print. If the cashier needs to keep a copy and the guest gets a copy, type a 2 in this field. If the guest will also need to sign a copy of the invoice when they pick up their items and leave it with the person that let them leave with the items, put a 3 in this box. Do not collate means that if you want to print the invoices for several name records at once and you're printing more than 1 copy of each household's invoice, print all copies for 1 household before starting the copies for the next household. You may change this button by clicking the arrow next to it to collate, which means that 1 invoice per household will come out and then a new set of 1 invoice per household will print. Preview All is different than the preview on the screen of 1 name record. Clicking this button allows you to see all the invoices of every household that fits your name selection criteria. On the Preview All screen, you can use left and right arrows to scroll through the invoices if you want to see each one. This preview will pop up in a new window that normally pops up in front of the current screen, but occasionally on some people's monitors it will pop up behind. If it does pop up behind, you may think that Auction has stopped working, but really it's only waiting for you to look at the preview and then close it. Look at the bottom of your monitor if this happens, and you will see the icons of the applications that are currently running on your computer. Hover your mouse over the Auction gavel icon, and if there is more than 1 screen, the icon should give you a glimpse of both. Pick the one that looks like a preview by clicking on the little glimpse, and it should bring up the preview to the front. The Print button also has an arrow to the right, meaning that there are multiple choices in this Print button. Print Document will print all copies of each name record in your name selection list. Print Document for selected row will print all the copies for one name record that is highlighted in the list of names that fit your name selection criteria. And there is one more choice in the Print button, and that choice is Print to Individual PDFs. This option will only be available if you have installed the special installation of PDF 995 for auction that is available by download on our website or can be found as an installation on the flash drive we sent you. When you choose this option, a PDF folder will be created in the Auctions folder on your computer, and inside the PDFs folder will be a folder with the name of the document type followed by the date the document was printed to PDF. Inside that folder will be a PDF file for each household record in the selected names list, and each of the files will be named for the household or company the document is for. If you wish to email invoices, statements, or donor receipts, printing all to PDF is handy because you'll be able to attach the correct document to the email based on the name of the PDF file. The next part of the ribbon has the Save buttons and the Screen mode. Once you have the name selection criteria you want and the contents of the document just how you like it, you can save the document as a custom document so it will be available again and again. If the Save button is not enabled, click the Hint button to find out why. When the Save button is enabled, click it and then click Save Document As to name the document. If you're editing an already saved document, you will also have a choice to simply save the edits as the same format without creating a new custom document. The last part of the ribbon is the Panels Open and Panels Closed buttons. These buttons refer to the content panels. So if you're trying to look at certain panels and don't want to scroll through all the other panels when you're designing the look of your document, click Panels Closed and then find the panel you're interested in and open that panel only by clicking on the actual panel. Please continue with Part 2 of the Financial Name Document series to learn about the other parts of the formatting screen. Thank you for joining us.